Season 5, Episode 36 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers. I, Jonathan Liskin, to my right over there, is Sam Fetterman. It is Friday, November 15th, 2:24 Eastern Time, as we operate in Eastern Time for the podcast. And we got to preview some games. Big weekend ahead of college basketball, as always. Sam, how are you? Just vibing to the music.
I'm good, Jonathan. You were late, so I decided to delay you a little bit more.
Yeah, I deserved that. It was it was partially my fault. I'll say partially Starbucks' fault. Was a little late getting my my peppermint hot chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, you got to blame Starbucks. You can't not blame Starbucks in a situation like this, right, Jonathan?
Exactly. So let's jump into some of these games this weekend. We have arguably the best slate of the season tonight. I think we have like 8 or 9 high major versus high major games.
We're gonna have more than 8 or 9 high major versus high major games when we get into conference play, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for the second Friday of the season, never going to complain about a slate like this. This is an
and we don't even have Gavitt games this year, so we don't get the built-ins.
Right. We do get the Big 12 Big East battle coming up.
Yeah, but that's after Feast Week.
Yeah. But yeah, no Big 10 versus Big East stuff this year in the Gavitt games, which sucks.
Well,
but,
we do have a Big 10 versus Big East game that we will be previewing. Yes,
we do. But let's we're going to start in West Lafayette, Indiana tonight. It's the game of the night.
Actually, first of all, anything that we want to go over from the last 2 days? Just like really quickly.
Arizona State looks good. They had a nice win.
Joe Sannon was really good. Jaden Quaintance. I texted you this last night. If Jaden Quaintance isn't an All-American next season, it's coaching malpractice.
We're bringing that phrase back. I love it.
That guy is a special defensive player.
We haven't used the coaching malpractice phrase since I was using it to describe Tamin Lipsey, who was he an All-American last year? He should have been.
He should have been, but it wasn't about being an All-American. It was about him coming back with a 15-foot jump shot.
Right, but
he came back and shot 40% from 3.
That's the point I'm making. Is the last time we said something about coaching malpractice, the guy came out and had a phenomenal year the next season.
To be fair, we liked TJ Otzelberger, and we still do.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Hurley. I mean, no, if Arizona State keeps playing like it's Bobby Hurley's keeping his job. That was his best coach game in a very long time. I gave him props on Twitter. I gave him props on Blue Sky. Follow me on both of those platforms if you don't. Mostly just saying follow me on Blue Sky because I will be posting there for tomorrow's Syracuse game. So my coverage will be there. But Jonathan,
have you decided yet if you're going to Albany tomorrow?
I'm not.
Oh, that's a shame. Would have had 2 Fetterman bets tomorrow.
Northeastern over Harvard, 78-56 on Wednesday. Shout out Ryan Williams, a freshman from Malvern, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Speaking of Blue Sky, by the way, I am on Blue Sky, but I will not be using it over there. I'm pro Twitter. It is.
No, yeah, I'm just using it to try and build something up over there, and I'll still be on Twitter.
It's not beneficial to me to try to regain a bunch of followers on Blue Sky when I already have getting close to 1,000 on Twitter.
I'm getting close to your Twitter number on Blue Sky.
Well, yeah, no more people know you.
Yeah. So. All right. Let's move on. North Texas over Minnesota, Hofstra over Seton Hall. Louisiana Tech was really impressive. We'll talk about them a little bit later, hopefully. But let's start from West Lafayette, Jonathan.
Yeah, so you have one of the marquee games of the early season tonight, Alabama at Purdue. This is a Purdue team that, has already lost Daniel Jacobson for the season, which feels like a huge blow considering he was starting for them. This is really interesting to me for a couple of reasons. One, the KenPom line for this game does not at all match up with the actual line for this game. I think Purdue's a 2.5-point dog in actual betting lines, and then but KenPom has Purdue as a 2-point favorite here. This is, a chance to see, I think, how much Alabama's defense has actually improved, because it's something we talked about a lot in the offseason. They were a sub 100 team for most of the season last year when it came to defensive efficiency on KenPom. They added Cliff Amarui to fix that. Tonight's a good test to see how much he's helping. But I think truly this game probably just ends up coming down to, can Purdue slow this down to the game they want to play? Because, the way you beat Alabama is you limit their shot diet, and Alabama likes to get up a ton of shots, ton of threes. And so the idea is the less they take of those, the better. And Purdue has a point guard in Braden Smith that can certainly do that.
Alabama is going to start Mark Sears, fifth-year senior, Grant Nelson, fifth-year senior, Latrell Wrightsell, fifth-year. Well, he plays big minutes off the bench, fifth-year senior, and Cliff Amori, fifth-year senior. Right. If you with a team of 4 key fifth-year seniors can't go in to a hostile environment early in the season against a team that will be relying a lot on a bunch of younger guys, not always. There's key young guys that are going to be playing a lot for Purdue. Jakari Harris is starting in that lineup. We're seeing Miles Colvin and Camden Heide kind of coming out of their shell. Will Berg is getting minutes. CJ Cox. If you with a team of 4 fifth-year seniors isn't going to be able to come out and make a difference and control the pace and tempo of this game from the start, that is alarming. I think Alabama will do that. I think they will control this game, even in a hostile environment, because I think they are just straight up more talented one-on-one. 5 men. Like, you line up Bama's 5, you line up Purdue's 5. Alabama has better basketball players. They have more experienced basketball players. They have a better basketball coach. Purdue has Mackey Arena. I think that will matter.
Are we sure that Oates is a better coach than Painter?
I think in game, yes.
So you can certainly make the argument, but
I think in game I would take Oates over Painter.
Okay.
Development and recruiting, development and evaluation, I would take Painter.
Oh, for sure.
In game and schematically, I would take Oates.
Yeah, going back to what I said, if this is a 75.
By the way, Oates is awesome at development. Painter's awesome at in game. I just think that's what Oates is really, really good at.
Yeah, I'll go back to what I kind of said to open this. I think if this is a 75 possession game, Alabama's going to win it. I think if it's closer to 67, 68 possessions, Purdue wins it. And I trust Braden Smith and Matt Painter enough to be able to slow the game down, to keep Bama enough out of transition. I will take the Boilermakers in this one.
I think I trust Braden Smith, but what happens in the 3 minutes of this game that Braden Smith doesn't play?
Yeah, it's going to be about surviving those minutes.
If Braden Smith has to play all 40 minutes, is Braden Smith still going to be Braden Smith in minute 40?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
What's going to happen there? So the game is going to fall on how CJ Cox and Jakari Harris are able to respond. How are these freshman guards going to be able to respond in their first true big game? Obviously not a hostile environment for them, but they haven't played in a big game before. They haven't played in a big game in college basketball. And neither of them were at the big prep schools that played against the other big prep schools. So maybe it helps them in the sense that they were playing local or more local ball. Every game was a big game. But they've never played a big game in college ball. And Mark Sears has been in a lot of big games. Grant Nelson has been in a couple. Cliff Amori has went to every Big Ten arena. Cliff Amori's beaten.
Hey, Rutgers has had success in Mackey. Not many teams.
No, I don't think that has to do with anything.
I know. I'm just making the point.
Pike is basically the exact opposite of Oates, but I think Alabama should win this game, but I would avoid betting it at all costs if I were considering it.
Yeah, I think there's another part of that, by the way, that Alabama does play some freshmen quite a bit, and it's going to be their first big true road test as well. Philon has been good enough that he's starting for them. Darion Reed plays big minutes. Sherelle, not as much, but still will get in. So, this.
Yeah, and that's true. That is the flip side there. But I also want to shout out Jaron Stevenson, who played in a lot of big games as a freshman. Played big minutes in a lot of big games as a freshman. He played 25 minutes, scored 19 points in the Elite Eight. He was the best player on the floor in the second half of that game.
Yeah,
I think that Jaron Stevenson will play a big role in this game. I think he can do a good job if they want to play. If Purdue kind of wants to go big, Alabama can match them going big. If Purdue wants to go small, Alabama can match them going small. They can play Phylon. They can play Sears. They can play Reitzel. I don't like. I don't really know what Aiden Holloway is going to be doing for this Alabama team if LeBaron Phylon is this good.
which we kind of had our suspicions.
And yes, I don't know. I'm not a Darion Reed guy. I think he's okay. He's not a star or anything, but I think Jaron Stevenson's going to have a good game tonight.
Him against
On the Purdue side of this, they do have experienced guys. It's not like they're all super young. I mean, they're going to start junior, freshman, and who's going to be the fifth starter for them?
Tonight's a good measuring stick to tell exactly how good Alabama is. Like if they are, a number one level team in the country, like people have been saying.
I would agree. I think tonight is like if they come out there and they flat out just pummel them, which I think could happen. I think there's a scenario where Alabama comes out and it's 12-3 at the first media timeout. It's 21-9. And then at halftime it's 37-26 or something like that.
If this game ends in blowout fashion, it'll be the Tide that come out on top.
No doubt. No doubt. Purdue's not winning this game by more than 6.
All right, so let's go to where should we go next? Let's go to the Big East Big Ten game that we hinted at. Marquette at Maryland. This is, I think, two kind of opposite ends of the stick here. Shaka Smart has had a lot of success over the last couple of years. This is a Maryland team that we did a preview on with Ryan Hammer and talked about how bad the roster construction last year was. Maryland went in to the portal. They went into the high school ranks to try to fix this problem, adding a bunch of key players. So it's a completely different roster than it was a year ago. And, this is a big game in College Park for the Terps early in the season. I've gone back and forth on how I think this one's going to go, because I could totally see myself saying like Maryland's going to win, but then like Shaka comes out and, outcoaches Willard and Marquette wins it by 15. So I think I'm going to roll with the Golden Eagles in this one, just because, I think they have more continuity. This is a Marquette program that has looked good early in the season because they don't really use the portal. Everything they do is in-house when it comes to talent development. And I think you'll see that tonight, even on the road at what should be a pretty packed Xfinity Center.
Yeah. I get that. I don't know how they're guarding the inside. I really don't. Marquette wants to go 5 out with Ben Gold this year. Maryland doesn't quite have the depth in the front court, but they're going to play a lot of Derek Queen and Julian Reese together in this game, and I think that's going to be problematic for Marquette. No, I don't know how they're going to guard him. I don't know how they're going to guard Julian Reese and Derek Queen together, especially if you're kind of using Queen as like a high post guy that can deliver the ball to a lot of places, and you're just having Reese constantly duck in. I mean, Reese is going to duck in so many times in this game, and then you're going to have Queen at the high post. You're going to have cutters coming off of him. You're going to have plenty of shots for guys like Selton Miguel. I think Maryland has the schematic advantage in this game, but Shaka Smart has the coaching advantage in this game. And that's what kind of gives me pause on this, because Marquette does have length on the perimeter. They have their Stevie Mitchells and David Joplins, who are awesome role-playing defenders. Chase Ross is tremendous. He's had a great start to the season. He's one of my favorite breakout picks. I think Marquette, like, I don't think it's going to tell us a whole lot about Maryland if they win this game. I think it'll tell us a lot about Marquette if they come out and it doesn't matter that Maryland has two elite bigs, or maybe not two elite bigs, but an elite pairing of bigs. And that doesn't matter. Marquette still goes out there, finds a way to guard it, and just straight up outscores them. If Cam Jones scores 36 points in this game and Marquette wins, would anybody be surprised? Because that's who Cam Jones is. He's one of the best scorers in college basketball. Now, I think I would pick Maryland. I would err on the side of Maryland. They have the home crowd. They're going to be rocking. It's Derek Queen's first big game, and they're going to show up for that. Jacoby Gillespie is one of my favorite players in all of college basketball, and he's been really good for Maryland to start the year. But I would not be surprised at all. And I think it would say a lot more about Marquette if they stride in to Xfinity Center and walk out with a W.
Yeah, I think a big question in this game that I have is, what do these teams get from their bench? Because, that's been a big question mark all offseason. Marquette has a lot of young guys, talented, but young guys coming off their bench. Bryce Parham, Zay Lowry, even Trey Norman a little bit. Maryland has gotten really good production out of Rodney Rice so far this season, which has been, kind of a shocking revelation given that he has not played very many college basketball games in the last 2 years. But Kevin Willard and the Terps would welcome another scorer like him off the bench. But then past that, you turn to Chance Stevens, Malachi Palmer. Jay Young's been playing a little bit for you. I'm very intrigued to see what team here finishes with more bench points, because I do think that could decide the game. Because both of these teams have very good starting five units. It's what they have past that makes these teams like maybe top 25, top 30 teams versus like top 10 teams.
Wait, we're calling Jalen Young Jay Young now?
That's what it's on Maryland as, or what it's on KenPom.
That's weird. But yeah, Royce Parham and Zayd Lowry. Those are the two keys to this game for Marquette off the bench. And then obviously Jalen Young, Rodney Rice, those guys for Maryland, if they get anything from a Gapare or a Stevens, who knows? I think that Maryland's going to play 7 guys, maybe 8 in this game. I don't really think they're going to go deep. Marquette, again, I don't think either of these teams are going to have 8 guys that are in the rotation for this game. I think this is going to be a thin game for both teams, and I think that's what we're going to see from them for most of the marquee games in non-conference play. Where does Marquette go for their MTE? They go to Atlantis. I don't think we're going to see them play 9 guys at Atlantis.
Probably not. Probably not. But those tournaments are weird with how you have to play.
Yeah. I know. That's something I said. And we will have Silver Sword picks. Mm-hmm. We will have Silver Sword picks. We're working on that. We just got the email.
Yeah, I decided, they're not due until November 21st. So, wait a little while, see some more teams play before you make those picks. All right. Fetterman, I'll leave this up to you. Arizona, Wisconsin, or Ohio State, Texas A&M?
Still Ohio State, Texas A&M.
Okay, so I expect this to be a very chaotic game. These are two teams that rely a lot on guards self-creating to hit shots. Bruce Thornton, Wade Taylor, one of the best point guard matchups we'll get in non-conference. Can Ohio State with Bradshaw, Stewart, and even Royal keep A&M off the offensive glass? It is my big question. This is an A&M team that always struggles in non-con. They've pretty much gone with the same roster construction year in, year out. They're playing well defensively early in the season, which is a welcome sort of thing for Buzz Williams, who has not had stellar defensive teams in the last couple years. They've more just been reliant on, hey, we're going to be a better rebounding team than you, and we'll be able to win games no matter how we shoot the ball. But, I'm very interested to see how much they go to Zurich Phelps. He's been extremely high when it comes to usage, right, this year so far. They've relied on him a ton, which is sort of weird given the fact that you have Wade Taylor. But I would trust an A&M team that, like, the thing that's tough is A&M. I go back to A&M's always so bad in non-con, but they also have more continuity here. The transfers they took made sense for what they want to do, even if I disagree with what they want to do. But Ohio State has looked good as well. I'll let you analyze this game, and I'll make my pick for it after.
I was reading Jordan Majewski's blog. Like, subscribe. It's $10 a year. It's worth it, especially if you bet on basketball. It's worth it. It's worth it if you don't bet on basketball like I do. But Ohio State is shooting 48% from three on 26th percentile shot selection per shot quality. Like, that's concerning for this game.
Yeah.
They got a lot of really tough shots to go against Texas. If Ohio State comes out and hits their shots, Texas A&M can't run with them. They can't, especially with how strong Ohio State's defense has been this year. They've been really good on the inside, even without Aaron Bradshaw being like this dynamite piece. I think Bradshaw is a big will make an impact today. I like Evan Mahavy, but I think Texas A&M blasts them. I think that they blast them. This game is in College Station. That place is going to be rocking. We know how much Buzz Williams just wants to muck this game up, and I think A&M has just the better front court, the more depth in their front court to kind of make this thing really messy and play the way they want to play. Henry Coleman's like their fifth best front court guy. Then he's a guy that we bet on 2 years ago.
Right.
He's a piece. They have a lot of pieces in that front court with Pharrell Payne and Anderson Garcia and Solomon Washington. I just need to see them start Manny Obaseki in order to be like back in on this team. I'm a little bit out on this team. I'm also a little bit out on Ohio State as I'm just not there yet. Mm-hmm. I think if Ohio State goes in and wins this game without like crazy shooting, I would kind of see the narrative flip a little bit with them.
Yeah.
Again, John Mobley. Shooting Mobley's been sick shooting the ball, but like he's 7 for 8 in 2 games. Who's to say he doesn't go 1 for 5 today?
Yeah.
I just want to see Texas A&M start Obaseki next to Wade Taylor.
Yeah, I think this is an Ohio State team that is going to make some tough shots all year, and it will win them some games. They have guys like Thornton, Johnson, even Mobley, who in high school it showed up on film that he was a really good creator and could hit tough shots. But I'm sort of leaning towards your side of this, where A&M is just going to be more physical. They are a bunch of grown men, and not to say that Ohio State doesn't have veteran players, but they are a little bit of a younger group. And I think this is just a game where A&M flexes its muscle, and maybe they don't force Ohio State to take tough shots the whole game, but maybe we do see a little bit of shooting regression here. Yeah, and I'll go with the Aggies, who are probably in more desperate need of a big win too after the UCF loss on opening night.
I like that both of these teams who have already played big games on this season, who've already played against high major teams this season, are doing it again a week and a half later. That's big for me.
Yeah, it's fun. Arizona, Wisconsin tonight from Madison.
I mean, Arizona's just the better team.
I think Arizona's just way better than these guys. I am higher on Wisconsin than most. I still don't think Wisconsin is a great team.
I'm a lot higher on Wisconsin than I was a week ago.
Like, this kind of feels like the early season Tennessee-Wisconsin game from last year, where even though it's in an environment that's good and, the Kohl Center's rocking, Tennessee was just better than Wisconsin last year. And that's what that game came down to. They just had better players. And that was even before Tennessee was playing their best basketball.
Arizona, and also that Wisconsin team was significantly better than this one.
Arizona right now, I know the quality of competition has not been great, but they have just drilled teams. Like came out and covered the spread by a pretty wide margin. And I think this team.
I don't think they covered against Canisius.
I mean, they're number one right now in Torvik efficiency.
I think that was a 35.5-point spread against Canisius.
Really?
I remember saying it was 35.5. Let me check.
Well, anyway, they beat Old Dominion 102-44, which we've talked about Old Dominion on this pod. But yeah, I just think this is still a case of Arizona
31.5.
Okay, so it was like right there.
Yeah, but Old Dominion sucks. We've talked about that.
Yeah, we've established that.
They have the Sean Dura-Gordon curse. The one player that has me blocked on Twitter.
Oh, really?
I haven't told you about that?
No.
I haven't told you that Sean Dura-Gordon has me blocked on Twitter?
Dude, Gavin Wurzberger once tried to get me to rush him for ZBT. So...
Mizzou legend Sean Dura-Gordon.
Yeah, every coach he's played for in college has been fired.
Immediately, too. Immediately.
But yeah, no, like I said, Lewis seems to have taken a step up. Same with Bradley. Awaka's looked really good. I think Arizona is just a deeper and way more talented team than Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't really think that there's much to get into here. The Wisconsin thing that I will get into, John Tonje. He was hurt last year at
You're gonna piss me off, Sam.
Okay, I'm gonna piss you off. I'm gonna be correct about this. John Tonje has been Ken Palm game MVP in 2 out of 3 games.
I agree with you. That's not what pisses me off.
What pisses you off?
What pisses me off is that he was going to be Mizzou's best player last year, and he was hurt the entire year.
What do you want me to say?
Would have enjoyed seeing a team that won some conference games.
What do you want me to say? It happened. John Tonje is Wisconsin's best player.
Tonje is very good at getting to the line, and that is a big part of what was going wrong for Mizzou last year, as well as some other things.
Let's stop talking about Mizzou, for crying out loud. It's about Wisconsin.
Oh, so you're allowed to talk about UConn, but I'm not allowed to talk about Mizzou?
When did I talk about UConn?
Or Syracuse? I don't know.
When did I talk about Syracuse?
All right, let's go on. Any final thoughts on this Arizona-Wisconsin game?
It'll be close. Arizona will win by double digits.
So you're saying Wisconsin is in it for a while and Arizona pulls away?
Wisconsin's in it for a long time. Wisconsin's in it for 35 minutes. Arizona turns on the gas at the end. They just have bigger bodies down low. Like Stephen Crowell is going to have a Jag game. Every Stephen Crowell game is a Jag game. Stephen Crowell is going for his 5th consecutive national Jag of the Year award. If you're not familiar, Jag is a term that stands for just a guy.
Yes. Just a guy.
Sorry, fourth consecutive. He played 2.2% of the minutes his freshman year.
At that point, he wasn't really a Jag, though.
What?
At that point, he wasn't really a Jag when he was
exactly. That's why it's his 4th consecutive, and not his 5th.
What game do you think I'm going to next?
Princeton Loyola.
Yeah.
This is such a fun matchup for me.
We talk about it
because Princeton's offense is the "I'm better than you" offense.
Mm-hmm.
Princeton's offense is all based on the fact that Xavier Lee is better than whoever is guarding him.
Which is weird. That's like so not Princeton.
Okay, it doesn't matter. That doesn't really matter, though. Princeton's offense is based on Xavier Lee is better than you at basketball. Dalen Davis is better than you at basketball because he is. Dalen Davis rocks. Dalen Davis scored 25 points against Northeastern this weekend. Yeah, Caden Pierce is better than you at basketball. And then Loyola's defense is just Miles Rubin is better than you at basketball. Jalen Deloach is better. So both of these teams just are better than their opponents at offense and then at defense. So
yeah, this is
So watching this game, this battle between Princeton's offense and Loyola's defense, It is going to be one of the most entertaining battles of the season because I don't even think it's going to be this whole schematic thing. It's just going to be two dudes. Like it's going to be like watching Mike Tyson fight Ali or something.
Not Jake Paul.
Yeah, Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul is like when Loyola goes up against, I don't know, Rhode Island.
This is a true unstoppable force versus immovable object kind of game. And what I lean here is that typically in these kind of games, I think defense travels better. And obviously, this
I
game.
also think Loyola's defense is better than Princeton's offense.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
They're just more athletic.
I think Loyola has the numbers don't show it yet, but I think Loyola has legit like a top 20 defense in the country.
I think they have a top 10 defense in the country.
And Princeton doesn't have a top 20 offense.
I think Princeton's offense is going to be like 44th. Loyola's defense is going to be like 6th.
Two great teams. I think that, these teams could both easily win their league this season. It'll be one of the best mid-major games we get all of non-conference play. Loyola goes deeper. Princeton tends to play a much shorter bench and rely on just what they have. But yeah, I think like Loyola's defense just being better than Princeton's offense is what will win them this game.
Princeton's going to play 7 guys max, maybe 8, and like the 8th will play like 2 minutes. The 7th doesn't even play very many. They play 6 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Loyola's going to play 8 guys. They're going to definitely play 8. They're going to play Deloach off the bench. Mokorier is going to play. Yunsu's going to play. Quinn's going to play. They're going to play 9 guys. Mm-hmm. And they are a defense team. I think they have the defense to travel. I'm not 100% sure I agree that defense wins out over offense in types of games like this. I think it depends on if the defense is better than the offense or whatever. But I think a lot of people are going to get introduced to Jaden Dawson tonight. Jaden Dawson is going to be a key wing for Loyola this year. A lot of people don't really know about him. He's averaging 16 points a game this year, something like that in 3 games. And I think a lot of people are going to start to learn about him very soon. He's going to be one of Loyola's best players.
Yeah, a couple of true floor generals going head-to-head as well. In Zay Lee, Justin Moore, 2 very good point guards at the mid-major level. Let's move on. Where do you want to go next? High Point UAB?
I was going to say High Point UAB.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. This is another really fun one. Because High Point is this run and gun. We're faster than you. They're another we're better than you team. And UAB is also kind of a we're better than you team. But these are we're better than you teams in completely different ways. High Point is faster than you. They shoot better than you. They pass better than you. They're just a more skilled all-around offense than you. They run good stuff, and they will run you out of the gym. UAB is the most athletic mid-major team in college basketball. They have Yaxel Lendeberg and Christian Coleman in the front court. Those 2 guys are way too athletic to be playing in the American Conference. Greg Gordon is way too athletic. Buda Johnson, Tony. They've got guys. Wait, hold on. Is Tony still there?
Yes, he is.
Okay, just making sure I have that right. Because I know there's someone from last year's team that's not there. Who am I thinking of? What wing am I thinking
of? Vasquez?
No, he's still there.
No, he's still there.
Wait. Is there a wing that's not there anymore?
Ephraim Johnson? No. Oh, Gaines.
Gaines isn't a wing. I know Gaines isn't there.
Okay. I'm wrong. I don't know then. But
whatever. But Tyron Moore is really good too. So
my concern with UAB is, I did pick them to win the American, and I think that was more an indictment of what I thought of Memphis than what I actually thought of UAB. And obviously could be wrong on that. But my whole thing is, we watched UAB on opening and during opening week lose a game to Vermont in which, Vermont played controlled. Vermont wasn't nearly as athletic. But I think with UAB, it's like this was the problem last year too. Yeah, they would out-athletic bad teams because those bad teams weren't schematically overmatching them. High Point can do that.
Yes, and I also look at High Point. This game is going to be at High Point. That crowd is going to be up. This is like High Point has two big non-conference games. They have this, and they have North Texas. They win those games. That fan base, that student body, it's going to think they're going undefeated.
They won't.
Now, they're not going to. Someone's going to pick them off in the Big South. And I also think someone's going to pick them off in the non-con. And it's not going to be Missouri State.
Maybe SIU?
No, what I'm saying is I think UAB kind of gives them a you're not there yet, pal, tonight.
I'll take High Point.
Like I think High Point should win this game. But I think this is going to be kind of like a programmed heat check moment for High Point. They're not quite there yet.
Any Michigan TCU thoughts?
Michigan should win. They kind of gotten lower on TCU over the course of the offseason. I really liked them early in the offseason.
They've looked not far from impressive so far.
Yeah, barely beating Texas State. Although I don't really think Michigan has the bodies to guard Trezarian White. Like they don't really have like a big wing physical type piece. So I think Trezarian White goes off, but I think Michigan wins.
Yeah, this is a game where TCU could certainly try to attack Danny Wolf on the defensive end. They have the personnel to do it, but I just think Michigan, they're at home. It's a better basketball team. They've gotten really good stuff out of LJ Kaysen, the kid they took from that May brought with him from FAU. And we had heard so much about him in the offseason. He's lived up to the hype. What else do we want to talk about?
Oh, we have a lot more games to discuss.
I know. Pitt, West Virginia.
First time I'll get eyes on West Virginia.
Rivalry game. So I'm interested.
If I turn this game on, it'll be the first time I watch West Virginia.
Same.
So I mean, I have nothing to say about like what West Virginia is doing right now. But Pitt's 27th in Gen Pom.
Pitt's looked really good early in the season.
Yeah, they've been blowing out like
Murray State hung with them for a while, but Pitt pulled away late in that game.
They killed Radford. Radford's not bad.
If Damian Dunn is back to being himself, that elevates the team a lot.
Yeah, Damian Dunn 11, 19, and 12 in the last 3 games. That's big for them. If he's averaging 13, 14 a game. Yeah. Obviously, Jalen Lowe is this team's key. He's the best player. He had 20 points in each of the first 2 games. He's going to be the best player in this for them in this game. But Tucker DeVries is the best player on the floor. And I know Isaac Trotter would argue Javon Small might be the second best player on the floor.
Yeah, Tucker DeVries is going to be the best player in most games that West Virginia plays this season.
And I think that's going to give West Virginia a chance in every game. Yeah. When you have the guy 6'7", great length, can make a shot from anywhere on the floor, no matter who's in his face. That's the great equalizer in college basketball, having an NBA scorer. Yeah, and Tucker DeVries was an NBA scorer in the Missouri Valley. He's now an NBA scorer in the Big 12. There's more of them than there are in the Valley. There was one in the Valley last year. His name was Tucker DeVries. There was an NBA defender in the Valley last year. His name is Malavi Leons. And there's a team that's really struggling to defend now that they don't have him anymore.
You'll see West Virginia run a lot of stuff through Amani Hansberry tonight. He probably won't score a ton, but he'll be the initiator of their offense, whether it's in dribble handoffs, stuff out of the high post. Drake when DeVries was there last year, did all sorts of stuff with Darnell Brody initiating.
I think the key is for West Virginia? Jonathan Powell. Freshman who's scored 10 in each of the first 2 games. Just hit shots. He hits shots. He's got to hit shots tonight.
They haven't been really playing KJ Tenor, have they?
Tenor's played.
Okay. I didn't really think he was a high major player, but
14 minutes a game.
DeVries has a good track record of developing guys. So
I'm not super big on either of these teams, but I'm definitely gonna try and get eyes on it.
Okay, so
one game that I will not try to get eyes on is Virginia Villanova.
ooh,
That is going to be gross.
bring out the bleach.
They should bleach the floor.
That game starts in a little under 2 hours. I'm setting the line at -175 during the first half that we get an Anthony Christensen. This is vile hoop tweets.
I am setting like a -700 that Patelis and Eric Haslam have a fight about that game.
There are a lot of games they can have fights about tonight.
You want to start rapid firing?
Yeah, we can kind of alternate here, because we do have Saturday and Sunday games as well that we have.
Well, we'll get the Saturday and Sunday after we do rapid fire.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the games that I'm most interested to see, maybe not watch tonight, but at least see the result and how the teams played.
I know exactly.
Duquesne at DePaul.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
DePaul's looked really good early in the season, and Chris Holtman seems to have at least upgraded both the talent level and the way the program has run immediately, which, one of the benefits of the portal. They have a lot of portal guys. Duquesne is another team that relied a lot on the portal and also have a new coach. So two teams in similar situations tonight. DePaul fans seem like they're really excited about this one. And I think it says something that we are, almost 2 weeks into the season, and we can't definitively say that DePaul is the worst team in the Big East.
Hold on 1 second.
Not even close.
Give me 1 second, please.
You are good. Players to watch, by the way, in this DePaul Duquesne game tonight. Connor Enright's been not shockingly very good for the Blue Demons. Jacob Meyer looks like he's translating pretty well. Sam's guy. I'll give Sam credit on this one. I had Layden Blocker ranked really highly as a recruit too, but Sam was the one that found him. He's looked really good as well. Much better situation for him. And then Trey Mika's played very well, which I'm quite surprised by. I thought he was just going to be sort of this glue guy, which he probably will end up being. But at least so far in these first 3 games for DePaul, he's looked great.
I agree. D'Amico has been really good. My first game that I'm going to rapid fire is FAU Charleston. This game is going to be 130,000 miles an hour. It is going to be Samford Cornell like in terms of how many possessions these teams will play. FAU has played 80 possession games. Charleston's played 80 possession games. Darren Boyd is going to make his Charleston debut tonight. I'm not sure if you saw that, Jonathan.
I did.
I'm not sure how many people have seen that, but that's a 17.6 point a game score. That was the best player on a Lipscomb team last year. Ognisevich was hurt, but they had Will Pruitt. He was the best player on that team. And then when he got hurt, that team kind of really felt it. And now they have Ognisevich back, and it's all like, oh my God, they have Jacob Ognisevich and Will Pruitt. It's awesome because it is awesome. They rock. But Darren Boyd and Ante Berzovic against this FAU team, I'm really interested to see Leland Walker. I'm really interested to see just how many points these teams put up. This game could finish 101-98.
We talked about Iowa, Washington State. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. That's on you.
Yeah, this is two teams that, again, are going to probably score a ton of points. Now, defense will be, kind of questionable at times. Expected to be fast. I think Iowa probably has the talent advantage in this one, but, they haven't looked completely crisp. Watch out for Price Sanford in this one, the younger Sanford brother, who has looked really good early on in the season.
Yeah, give me another game to go off. I'm going to say Florida State. This game's at Florida State. Florida State hasn't looked bad since obviously aside from the Rice game, but that was away. That was in Houston. They played. They figured out that they looked really good on defense. They're just massive again. They have a lot of athletes. They're number 2 in the country in average height. They are starting 6'5", 6'7", 6'1", 6'10", 6'7". They bring 6'11", 6'9", 6'7" off the bench. So I'm interested to see how that kind of matches up with Florida, who's got obviously Condon and Shinielu in the front court, but also those guards that we know are so good, Walter and Elijah. Give me a second. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
You're good. Florida State, I'll talk about this. Florida State has some allegations that they have to dodge tonight because Sam Fetterman has recently called Florida State a MEAC team with an All-American. And, they can prove that they are tonight with a maybe not a win over Florida because that's a challenging game nonetheless, no matter where it's played. But, they're not what Sam Fetterman says they are. Sam is gone, will go to Penn State, Virginia Tech. This is a Penn State team that I was really low on in the beginning of the offseason and have gradually come around on because of multiple things, just talking to people, listening to reports. Yannick Niederhauser has been just excellent so far. He'll be one of the best rebounders in the Big Ten. He's been really efficient on the offensive end. He protects the rim. He's everything that Penn State wanted him to be so far in this season. Then, obviously you have Ace Baldwin, who's one of the best ball defenders in the entire country, not just the conference. This is a Penn State team that has a really high upside on the defensive end. And, this is a Virginia Tech team that, Mike Young has never really accumulated the talent that he's wanted to at Virginia Tech, but they always are really good when it comes to running stuff in the half court and freeing up shooters. Jaden Schutt, Duke transfer, has looked very, very good for them up until this point this season. Tobu Lawal has been a beast on the glass as expected, and also has 119 offensive rating on a 24 possession percentage. So if they're getting that from him, Virginia Tech probably will be better than I expect. But this is a game being played in Baltimore, obviously, kind of in between the two schools, Penn State and Virginia Tech. I expect Penn State to come out and win this one because I think Penn State's a better team. But, I think this, in terms of desperation, Virginia Tech maybe comes out and looks a little better. They haven't looked super great so far this season. They struggled the other night against Winthrop, mess around a little bit in some games this year. But yeah, no, this is a true test to see where Virginia Tech can be and where Penn State can be as well in their respective conferences. Neutral site game in Baltimore, Maryland. I'll go to Georgia Tech here while Sam is still out of commission. This is a Georgia team that I think is really underrated to this point in the season. I was very high on them in the offseason, specifically their defense. This is by far the best talent that Mike White has had at Georgia, and that's without Deshane Montgomery, the transfer from Mount St. Mary's, who Sam is very high on.
Hey, I'm back.
I just talked about Penn State, Virginia Tech, and I'm now talking about Georgia Tech.
Oh, man, I wanted to talk about Penn State, Virginia Tech.
Well, please, floor is yours.
Virginia Tech is a CAA team.
I did acknowledge, by the way, that you have called Florida State a MEAC team with an All-American.
Yeah, Florida State's a MEAC team with an All-American. Boston College is an A10 team, and Virginia Tech's a CAA team.
Boston College got pasted by an A10 team like a week ago.
They got pasted by a good A10 team. They're a bad A10 team.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech is like 6th in the CAA. Okay, maybe not 6th, like 3rd.
I was going to say.
But yeah, Penn State, though. Penn State has just put up a ridiculous number of points in their first two games. Very impressive stuff from those guys. Not that I think that they're really good or anything, but I've been impressed with how they've started the season. Up to 46th in offense. They're playing incredibly fast. They've played 73, 81, and 81 possessions. Yannick Conan Niederhauser has a 141 offensive rating. DeMarco Dunn has a 151 offensive rating. Zach Hicks is shooting 45% from three. So I've been very impressed with Penn State in terms of just putting up points. But then again, they're playing nobody. And again, they're playing nobody tonight. They don't have a game against a notable opponent until that second game of Sunshine Slam when it'll be either San Francisco or Clemson.
Penn State, I feel like, is notorious for playing in like one of those mid-level MTEs. Like you'll never see them in Atlantis, you'll never see them in Maui, you'll never see them in one of the bigger ones. But like Penn State's always good for a trip every 2 years to the Charleston Classic. Every year.
That's good. That's real good.
Yeah, and then as I was saying about Georgia, this is a team that's still missing Deshaun Montgomery, but they've been good nonetheless. This is a team that I think will be an excellent defense throughout the year. And, this is a Georgia Tech team that lost a really, really bad game to North Florida the other night. Like, you could say what you want about North Florida and the way they've started the season and how they've impressed people. Georgia Tech should not lose that game. It's not, and they certainly shouldn't give up 105 points. This is a Georgia Tech team that got a lot of hype in the offseason, and so far they are massively failing to live up to that. But a win tonight over Georgia could, turn their season in the right direction.
Does North Florida have a game tonight?
I don't think so. I saw North Alabama's on the schedule.
No, they don't. Northern Alabama plays Samford. I don't really want to get into that because I don't know anything about Northern Alabama.
You want to talk at all about Vermont, Iona, St. Joe's, Penn, or Ohio, Memphis?
I wanted to talk about Maine, Quinnipiac.
Oh, okay.
Impressed with Maine to start the season.
Very.
They are going to be a defensive. They're going to really defend you all year. That's what they're going to do. That's what Chris Markwood is all about. That's the head coach there, and he knows what he's doing. He has really taken that program. They were doing really bad, but they're doing really badly. They were 6-23 the year before he got there, 349 in defense. They hadn't been above 300 in KenPom since 2013 when he got there. They were 277 his first year. Last year they were 102nd in defense and 231 in KenPom. And I think this year maybe they're not as bad. I don't know if they're maybe they're not as good, but they're still a really good team in the America East. If Quinnipiac loses this game, I am alarmed, very alarmed. And they got blown out by Yale. They got blown out by St. John's. Sure, that's fine. You can't be losing at home to Maine.
Want to go to Saturday?
No.
I mean, I don't have anything else that I want to really get to. I was more asking you if you wanted to get to anything else.
I thought you were asking. I thought you were wondering. I thought you were just saying, what do you want to do next? Can you talk about Ohio, Memphis?
I mean, I can. I think Ohio's looked particularly unimpressive compared to what we thought they were going to be to start the season. Not to say that they can't turn stuff around, but, you got kind of pasted by James Madison on opening night. Illinois State without Bowden Schunberg pulled away in the second half to beat you. Not that I think Illinois State is a bad team. I think they'll be a top half of the Valley team. But, this is a Memphis team that, I'm still not completely sold on, but they should be athletic enough to take care of Ohio tonight.
St. Joe's and Penn.
St. Joe's losing to Penn tonight would be the most on-brand St. Joe's.
I don't know who guards in this game, like straight up. Like St. Joe's. Like St. Joe's is 95th in defense, but like they didn't guard anything. Like they don't like they have these games where they don't guard anything. Penn just straight up doesn't guard anything at all. I'm very concerned.
Basketball team.
I'm very concerned about Penn's defense. And St. Joe's could score 85 points in this game. This game could finish 85-83. But I think St. Joe's wins. I don't think Penn is quite good enough to win this game. Just out-talent them. So I'm going to give it to St. Joe's. Army and Marist. I've actually been impressed by Army to start the season. They beat Albany. They kind of played tough in like the first couple of minutes with Duke before getting blown out. That game wasn't over until like there were 12 minutes left in the first half instead of from the start. So that's better than what I expected from Army. And then they did not mess around in their game against the D3 like at all. they have 3 guys that can really play. They have Ryan Curry, Jalen Rucker, and Josh Scovins. All 3 of those guys could average 15 points a game. Probably they won't. They'll probably average like 16, 13, and 11. But all 3 of those guys can score. Marist should win this game pretty comfortably. They're 4-point KenPom favorites. They just beat Richmond. They have 6 days off. They are more talented, top to bottom. And I know I just said I liked Army because Army's coming from Army was awful last year. They were awful. They were 344th in KenPom. That's where they're coming from. Marist is one of the better teams in the MAC. If Marist loses at home, I'm alarmed.
Yeah. Not a ton of MVC stuff going on tonight. Belmont is at Air Force. It's a game they probably need to win.
UMass Lowell is at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Just something to note. Not really anything to say about it, though.
Is Jaden Bailey going to be at Monmouth Rutgers tonight?
Yes.
Had my money on that one.
I don't know why he's not doing Manhattan, Florida.
Bet of the night. Maryland Eastern Shore plus 11 at Old Dominion.
Oh my God. Old Dominion's an 11-point favorite?
On KenPom they are.
Okay. What are they on the books?
Let's look here.
I don't know if I'm actually going to buy a ticket. But
They're 12.
I don't know if I'm actually going to buy a ticket, but I am sitting in the Zach Bryan queue right now.
Fetterman getting his country on.
He just announced a show at MetLife. There's 8,000 people ahead of me in the queue. Hey, I like Zach Bryan. He's the only country artist I listen to.
We've talked about a lot of games this weekend. Would there be anything funnier than Indiana losing at home to South Carolina tomorrow?
Isn't that like not a bye game, but it's a one-off?
I cannot imagine why Indiana would schedule that home and home.
It's not a home and home. They're not returning it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could not imagine why Indiana would play at South Carolina.
All right, hold on. Give me a second to figure this. NCAA men's Old Dominion.
What? It's 12. It's 12. Old Dominion's a 12-point favorite.
Dude, they're 12-point favorites. They have Sean Dura-Gordon on their team. Has a team with Sean Dura-Gordon on it and playing significant minutes ever covered a 12-point spread?
It'd be a fun thing to research.
I don't think it's happening.
Because I could tell you that Mizzou did.
But, like, with him
he
playing?
didn't play here. So.
Austin P probably didn't cover any 12-point spreads that year. I know Sienna didn't.
Colorado State Ole Miss tomorrow. Good game.
Good game. Want to preview it?
Yeah, let's.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just accidentally opened ESPN Plus.
Okay, they might have covered a 15. What was the spread when they played Albany?
I have no idea.
Wait, he didn't. Oh no, he played 14 minutes off the bench. Oh, he was KenPom game MVP when they won by 16 against Tennessee State.
Colorado State Ole Miss. Let's preview it. You want to start? Oh, I thought you wanted to start. I mean, you're the high man on Colorado State, so.
Okay, I'll talk about Colorado State. I love their wings defensively, and Ole Miss's offense kind of runs a little bit through their wings. Obviously, we know they have Sean Padula in the backcourt, and that's kind of why I'm going to take them to win this game. They have more scoring options. But Ole Miss wants to run offense through their wings, and I think that Colorado State's going to deny that and force Sean Padula to win this game.
I'll take Colorado State in the upset here. I'm not super high on the Rams.
Okay.
But
hold on. I have to text somebody and tell them that Sean Dura-Gordon's team is a 12-point favorite.
Yeah, I don't think that Ole Miss is super well connected at this point in the season. I didn't think they've looked particularly good. They messed around and almost lost to Grambling State. They beat South Alabama by 10. This game's not being played at Ole Miss. It's in Mississippi, but it's not at Ole Miss. I think Colorado State steals one here. We've talked objectively way too much about Sean Dewar-Gordon on this pod.
Boise State, Clemson.
That's a Sunday one, isn't it?
There's not very much else on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, early season, you're not going to see much on Saturdays because of college football. But yeah,
Forest Xavier should be interesting. Two games I want to. There's two games that I want. There's two games that I want to get to on Sunday: Clemson, Boise State, and New Mexico St. John's.
Okay, so I guess I'll start with the Boise State Clemson preview. You talked a lot about how Clemson is better than we thought at the start of the season. Like, I remember you moved them up in your ACC power rankings late, but I think this is a good bounce back for Boise State. Like, they have the better front court in this game, even with Ian Shefflin in there for Clemson. And I know how much that you like him, but like this, Boise State lost last Saturday to a really good San Francisco team, and I think now they come back home. They got the non-D1 game to get focused, figure themselves out, and I don't think this club. I'm not buying this Clemson team until I see it with them.
Yeah, I'm not buying Clemson, but I'm buying Boise State to bounce back in a home game. New Mexico, St. John's. New Mexico's been very impressive. St. John's is just more athletic. Like, they are one of the most athletic teams in the country. Kadari Richmond with Aaron Scott and RJ Lewis and Zuby Ejiofor and Sam Wilcher and all of these guys. And if Brady Dunlap is hitting shots, when Brady Dunlap hits shots, St. John's is going to be really hard to beat. And he hit shots against
the annual Patino against Patino game. I think St. John's is just going to be able to, more often than not, take the New Mexico guards out of what they want to do. Just because that's the way that St. John's plays defense.
Yeah, and I think St. John's is kind of going to be able to push these guys around.
Yeah.
And Rick has the scout on Nelly. He coached him for 3 years.
Right.
Nelly is going to struggle in this game. It's going to come down to, for New Mexico, Philip Borovikinen and kind of their wings. Are they going to be able to score? Are Borovikinen and Amsil going to be able to score? And I'm not sure if they will, because, we know what RJ Lewis can do and Aaron Scott on the defensive end.
Yeah.
I've lost my voice. I don't know if you can tell.
Dude, I'm sick right now.
I have no voice. I don't know if you can tell. Can you tell?
A little bit. It doesn't. I've heard worse, but
yeah, I've had worse. But my voice is gone. I've been doing this entire show with my chest about to explode from how much I'm projecting.
Well, it's been a flu show. Maybe not a flu show, but a sickness show.
All right.
Want to take us home?
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about the Zach Bryan Q, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill and the latest happenings with my larynx, you came to the right place. This is Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Stealers, Season 5, Episode 36, a weekend preview for you, just about an hour's worth of content. We will see you tomorrow?
Either tomorrow or Sunday.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a show this weekend. See ya.